To preface this video, it's not meant to discourage you from wanting to become a game developer. And quite honestly, if it does, maybe you shouldn't pursue this field or any other difficult field. This is meant for me to provide some of my own first-hand experience to new game developers that either want to do this as a hobby or potentially a career. I have experience working on multiple commercially released games. I also have a fairly decent YouTube channel that is purely focused around game development. This video is going to be split into two main parts. The first one's going to be about getting into game development and some of the best practices for learning. And the second one is going to be career focused, such as education and also what types of jobs you might be looking for. Now, when it comes to getting into game development, choosing the right tools is very essential. When you're first starting out, I would highly recommend going with a game engine as opposed to just a language with some libraries. This is because game engines are more user-friendly and will allow you to make games more efficiently. When it comes to picking an engine, I would suggest going with either Godot or Unity. I would actually suggest staying away from Unreal Engine as it's more for AAA studios and not indie developers. I recommend Unity or Godot as they're both very lightweight and can run on basically anything, and they also both have large online communities with plenty of tutorials and other resources to help you along the way. But the best way to learn game development is not by watching tutorials. You need to make games. Now, this might seem obvious, but I've seen far too many people refuse to start making a game because they feel like they don't know enough. Now, when you started talking, you didn't know all of the words of the English language, and honestly, you still don't. But yet, you still keep talking and learning words. You expand your vocabulary and your communication skills. And the same basically goes for all skills, but especially for software and game development. And the best way to create projects is just by joining game jams. They happen basically every day. Now, it's okay to have help sometimes by looking up tutorials, but only do it when you absolutely need to. Try pushing yourself. And at least at first, don't worry about doing things efficiently. Especially when you're by yourself, and I recommend working by yourself when you first start. Don't worry about how efficient your code is. It doesn't really matter. All that matters is if the game works on the end user. And if you need proof of that, just look into how Undertale was made. To sum up this section, stop watching this video and go make a game right now. Just a quick disclaimer for the next section. This advice is tailored to individuals for the United States, as that is where I am from and where I have the most experience. However, some of this advice should be applicable everywhere. Now, when it comes to your career, you need to be asking yourself one key question. Are you more in it for the money, or are you more in it for the passion? Now, this isn't a binary question, but draw a line and kind of put yourself where you believe you are. Now, let's start from left to right. If you're fully leaning passion, then you should go into solo indie development or create your own studio. This way, you'll have full freedom to create whatever you want. Now, shifting a bit further along the line, still very much in the passion zone, but you also want to make sure that the lights are on in your house. Here, I would try to find a pre-established indie game company. Preferably one that's already released a few successful games. This way, you'll still be in the very fun and creative game development environment, whilst getting a consistent paycheck. Granted, it will most likely be south of 6 figures. Now, another option is contract work, where you can work temporarily for companies and teams. You'll be working with new teams much more frequently, which will expose you to different workflows and force you out of your comfort zone with what you work on, allowing you to expand your knowledge in other areas. Now, leaning more towards wanting to make money, there are AAA studios. However, I actually believe that this is the worst possible option. AAA studios are notorious for very long working hours and non-fulfilling work. Just imagine not being able to see your kid for Christmas because Call of Duty needs a new battle pass. And the worst part is, you're not actually making that much money compared to other tech-focused jobs. Which brings us to our final zone, you're in it for the money. In which case, game development is out the door. Unless, of course, you have some viral indie game, but that's as likely as winning the lottery. In this case, I would suggest going into software development. The work may not be appealing nor be fulfilling, however, it will be fulfilling your wallet. Now, let's discuss the requirements that you'll need to get these jobs. For anything before AAA, honestly, all you need is YouTube. However, for everything past that, I would highly recommend getting either a computer science or a software engineering bachelor's degree. Yes, even for the game dev positions. Do not go to a school like SNHU or Folso to get some game development oriented degree. These degrees are basically legal scams. They don't give you that much credibility and they won't teach you more than just watching YouTube videos. And the same goes even more for boot camps. Again, just a huge waste of time and money. And just doing projects and adding those to your resume is not enough either. At least at the moment, the tech field is highly saturated and very competitive. Unless you want the recruiter to throw your resume in the trash, you need at least a 4-year degree, several projects, and maybe even an internship on your resume. And it should go without saying that the higher paying jobs will need even more prerequisites. And I'm sure you might be saying, well, a bootcamp or full sale is cheaper and quicker than a degree. And to that, I say a 4-year degree from an accredited state college is exponentially more valuable than any of the others. And this might be controversial to say, but at least for comp sci and software engineering, the reason to get a degree is not for education, it is for accreditation. Saying that a degree is a useless piece of paper is like saying that this is a useless piece of plastic. And even though a degree will require you to take useless classes that you'll never use, a bunch of gen eds, it is still much better in the long run. Anyways guys, I hope at least some of this advice was helpful to you. And if there's one thing you should take away from this video, it's get the f*** out of here and go make games.